Hey guys, it's Maymay and welcome to Saturday's video where today I'm going to attempt to try something I think is going to work. I have done a test, but it didn't work out, but we're going to try it again. I think it's going to work. We're going to make birch tree stamps using the new patina stamp set from my stamp line. This one's called Patina, and we're going to use some of these guys to turn paper into birch trees. We're going to try. We're going to see if it works. It kind of worked when I did it the first time. It wasn't perfect, but I think I figured out the issues. So this is some Brutus Monroe masking paper, and I love this paper because it's pre-cut to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, which is perfect for the front of an A2 size card. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and cut it into some strips, about 1/4 of an inch. And then I'm going to do a couple, I'm going to do a couple and 1/4 of an inch, a couple and 3/8 of an inch, and a couple almost 1/2 an inch. Let's do 3/4 of an inch here. So there's 3. Then I'm going to move up to that 3/8 of an inch mark and do some in that size. I don't want to get too wide because of how this is going to look on the card, but I do want to get, fairly thicker with the trees. These are the tree trunks we're making. So there's 3 of them at 3/8, and then I'm going to make, let's go just under 1/2. Just under 1/2. They don't have to be perfect because they're trees, and trees are not perfect, so these don't have to be perfectly straight or anything. So just play, have fun, and cut you some strips. Now, we're not going to waste this masking paper. We're going to use the masking paper and the cardstock, so we're going to get 2 card bases out of this. That's the plan, okay? So here we go. Now I have 2 pieces of white cardstock. They are both cut to 4 by 5 1/4. So these are fronts for the card. These are front mats for our card. And then I have my strips here. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to worry about the second piece. I'm going to put it aside because I don't need it right now. But I'm going to take these guys. These are going to be our birch tree bases. And I'm going to peel the backers off of these. And for this card, or for this card back, the birch tree is going to be on the cardstock. But what we end up with on here is going to be a tree also. You'll see how that works. So the first thing I'm going to do is just stick this down on one side here. And I'm not perfectly straight. I'm kind of at an angle, and that's okay. I want to be kind of crooked, like if I were in the forest or what have you, because I want it to be on a little angle. Then I'm going to take one of the other widths. It doesn't have to be a specific one because we cut these all different. I'm just going to be mixing them up. And here I'm going to make another tree right here, and I'm not trying to get it perfectly straight. I just want another tree to live there. So the trees on this one are going to live in the open spaces. That's what you need to remember. That's really all you need to remember for this one. This one is going to have the trees a little more stoic. Like you're not going to be able to change these because we're putting them straight onto the paper itself. But you know how you've seen some cards that have like the whole background is just a bunch of birch trees standing straight up? That's what you're going to get with this one. It's going to be cool. Don't worry. It'll look awesome. And now I'm going to do one of these thinner pieces. I like to mix the pieces up and not have 2 wide trees together. So here's another one. Oops. Wherever it goes, I'm not going to stress too much. Just drop that down. Let's do a 3/8. That might have been a 3/8, but I feel like this one is. I actually like the thinner pieces for this. So here we go. Put this one down here. Oops, almost hit it again. Never how it lands. I'm not going to stress. Put that one down as long as it's covering my cardstock, and it does. Then this is one of those wider pieces. I'm going to come right here and even block off this edge so I can stamp on it while I'm stamping. You'll see why. It'll make sense because, like I said, I'm not going to waste these pieces either. We're going to actually use these for another card front. So I'm just going to come right beside here and lay that one in so I can stamp on it. And I'm going to bring one on this side and do the same thing. I'm going to use all I got. The cool thing about this masking paper is it has these little places slit in the release paper so you can get it off easy. I love that. All right. Another piece right here, right along the edge. Again, everywhere that the cardstock is exposed will be a birch tree. All right, Nuvo Hybrid ink. I've been loving this stuff. I'm using it like crazy. Some of you guys have asked if we were going to get the colors. They are on order. There's not very many colors, but we've ordered what there is. This stamp is the one that I jokingly refer to as the shredded wheat stamp from the patina stamp set, and I think it works perfect for this. So I have a scrap piece of white paper. I'm just going to set it off to the side. What I'm going to do with this guy is I'm going to ink it up. Now these lines run across. You can see how those run like that. I'm just going to come to the open spaces, and I'm just going to start to stamp That's getting on both pieces. See how it's getting into the onto the masking paper and into the space in the middle. That's what we want. We're going to just kind of stamp everything all at once. I'm going to run across some of them, and then I'm going to leave some open spaces. Let me zoom you in. So you see how this doesn't go all the way across? That's okay. We're just going to stamp this all over the page, randomly, sporadically, doesn't matter. And we're just going to let these lines live wherever they live. The only thing I'm trying to do is keep them straight like this, because that's how, you know, birch trees are like that. And honestly, when I made this stamp set, I never thought of using it for this, but birch trees are my favorite trees. I love when it's the season for them to start showing up. And so this is so perfect for me. I love it. So I'm just going to stamp around on and off the masking paper because I want it to be everywhere. Anywhere that I just need a little bit, I'm going to come in and just get a little bit. It doesn't matter if it doesn't stamp all the way down. The only thing that matters is that the lines are straight like this. That's all that matters. And if you want to turn the stamp to get a different shape, you can do that. Just keep the lines going in that direction. It's so easy, y'all. It's hard to mess this one up. I'm going to turn it again. Do it like this. And if they cross over, if you get one stamp into the other, it really doesn't matter because birch trees kind of have that kind of thicker and thinner markings, so that does not matter. So I feel like I've got a pretty good coverage most places, okay? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the same stamp. I'm going to ink it one time, and I'm going to stamp off, and I'm going to do some second generation. So I'm just going to come into some places, and just for a little shading like this. And the reason I don't kind of stamp and then stamp off, stamp and then stamp off, is because I want to be able to know where I need to fill in with the lighter color of the second generation. So this is why I just actually do the second generation instead of like stamp and then stamp. I want to be able to know where it's going. And I'm just willy-nilly going around. And I am kind of covering all the trees because I want some color pretty much everywhere. This little stamp block is so cool for this because I can like hold it really straight. I love it. Just stamping everywhere. And remember, I want it on all of the tape as well. So you can see how I've missed some here on the tape. I need to go back with the black and kind of put some in on these edges. Like so, because I want these to be trees as well. Now I've got all the ink cleaned off. Now I'm going to do one more thing. This is an illustrated faith pen in 0.25. This is really neat to me. I'm going to take this and right where our masking tape is, I'm just going to trace a little line. This is going to help the tree that's on the cardstock to have some definition. You probably could ink if you wanted to and get ink on both the masking tape and the card base, and that would probably work too. But I'm just doing this so I get a little definition on those trees. I am taking my time because I'm trying not to slip. I probably will slip at some point. But again, tree bark is not perfect. One piece might fly off and that would be fine. So I'm just tracing down. You can use a ruler if you feel like you need to. No big deal. Everything is traced. It looks like a bunch of birch trees laying there, doesn't it? Now it's time for the reveal. I'm going to peel this away. And remember, we're going to use these so we don't want to damage them if we can keep from it. So I'm going to pick this one up. And now this in itself is a birch tree. Isn't that cool? Now I'm going to stick this down to some white paper, but I want to show you something. If you wanted to put it on a colored paper, you could because of it being on a white strip, right? But I want to show you how we're going to get two similar pieces. So what I'm going to do is just decide where I want to start. I think I'm going to start a little off the page here. And I can angle them or I can make them straight, whatever I want. And some is going to hang off. We'll clean that up at the end. All right, so let me get this where you can see both of these. I've peeled off one from this side. I wanted to be able to move that and it was stuck down. So now I'm going to come over here. Now I have not found that I need to add any glue to these to make them stick a second time, but you could always add some adhesive if you thought it was too soft, but they seem to work. So now I'm just going to keep peeling these away. This is so cool. These over here, I'm taking some liberty and doing them a little crooked. I'm going to cross some over each other. So I can kind of, you know, have a lot more movement here. These are going to be what I had. These are going to be more straight line. Now, this is my straight birch tree background. This now has a little space, and that's okay. And I have this thinner piece that I can now come in and use like branches. So I can stick it down and let it run maybe off the page and pick that off like that. And then I have another one that I can use if I want to bring it off wherever I want it to live. I can do that because I can stick those down. So look at these two different backgrounds we just got. They are so cool. We just need to trim these pieces off. I'm just going to use my scissors to do that. I'm going to turn it around so I can see what I'm cutting. Isn't that awesome? I love both of these guys. Now, here's the other thing. If you wanted to be able to move them around again like this, you could cut these with your paper trimmer and get the strips. I think this is super cool, though. I think you could add a sentiment, and it's a card, right? Awesome. I want to show you, remember how I told you that I'd practiced earlier and it didn't turn out exactly like I wanted? The reason I didn't love this one as much is I tried using the stamp that was, let me show you what it looked like. I tried using this stamp that was more like a crosshatch, which in all honesty, I think it looks okay, but I added one more element to it, and I'll show you what that was. I'm going to show you on this set. I took one of these that had these kind of distressed dots on one side, and using the ink again, I'm only going to ink up those little distressed dots. Let me show you what I mean. This is kind of like what they call selective inking. I'm only inking up half of that stamp. And then I just took them and on the trees to give them a little more texture, which is really cool. I'm just adding these little 3 dots. Nothing else, just these little dots. And you can turn it and add it. And you can do this before you take the masking tape off. I just thought, you know, it needed something when I had finished, and that's what I did. So I probably would do this before I took the masking tape off if I was nervous. But really, you can just kind of even second generation this to give more texture to the trees. It's fun and easy, and you will have a ball doing this. So this is how I'm kicking off for Christmas in July, making birch tree background, which makes me very happy because it's my favorite, and I think we'll be able to do so much with this this winter. So if you try this technique with your stamps and your beautiful card projects, I want to see it. So please head over to our Facebook group, which is called Maymay Made It, and so did I, and share with us what you're doing with this technique. If you do it using the same stamp, I really want to see it if you use Relic, but I mean if you use Patina, but if you use a different stamp set, I want to see that too. You probably have one in your stash that you could do this with and get the same effect. I think it's awesome. I love birch trees. I can see me using this this technique. Look at the ink I just did, right? Do we all do that? Yes, we do. Or at least I do. I can see me using this all year long. And I want to show you one little thing I thought was cute. I went into my stash and found a lantern from one of my stamp sets called G's Teddy Bear Lane. And I thought it would be cute to hang it from here and then put a little sentiment. So there's so many things. You can put a red bird. You could add snow or snowflakes. You could add glistening or glitter. So much you could do. I hope you enjoy this idea of making birch tree backgrounds. And please share with us what you do. Thanks so much for watching today. Talk to you again real soon. Bye-bye.